Hello, and welcome to eClerx Talks, where we discuss the biggest topics in the industry. My name is Adam Cohen. I am the product marketer for eClerx, and I'm joined today by Jamyn Edis, who is a professor at NYU's Business School, who's going to talk to us today about the topic of dynamic pricing with AI in this industry. Jamyn, nice to see you again.
Great to be here, thanks.
So the topic we're going to be diving into today is dynamic pricing with AI in e-commerce. So as we all know, online shopping is hyper competitive today. There's things like discounts, promos, and pricing shifts, and these can make or break your visibility and conversions. So the challenge really is teams can't manually keep up with fast changing competitor moves. So let's talk about entering the AI now in terms of dynamic pricing and how it helps teams to stay competitive, protect margins, and win customers. So my first question to you, Jamyn, is why is pricing such a critical battleground in e-commerce today?
Well, when you think about the traditional 4 Ps of marketing, so that's product, promotion, placement, and pricing is obviously the critical one in that 4. Shoppers today are highly price sensitive, and they can compare instantly across multiple marketplaces with the tools that are in place today. We're also operating in an environment where competitors can adjust their pricing and their promotions on a daily basis, sometimes even an hourly basis. And so being very responsive to that is very critical. Any kind of manual or delayed adjustments often mean losing the buy box, losing market share, ultimately losing customer trust. So in this day and age, dynamic pricing is no longer like a nice to have, it's absolutely table stakes.
Understood. Yeah, that makes sense. And I guess competitors are starting to get ahead quicker as well, right? So in order to respond to that, you need that next level of technology to get you there.
Yep.
So the next question then is, how can AI make dynamic pricing smarter, not just faster?
Well, I think it's important to understand that AI doesn't just automate, but it provides context, and it's a useful tool in providing that. It helps you track competitor discounts and promotions across multiple channels. It will identify patterns. You can use machine learning to identify patterns. Are your competitors operating in a strategy that is first mover or fast follower, that kind of behavior? And it can recommend or trigger pricing moves based on things like guardrails you may want to put on, like profitability, price elasticity, not just on price matching. What this prevents is this kind of race to the bottom that could happen if you were just trying to match them, because oftentimes you're going to want to maintain some minimum level of margin. So it balances that competitiveness with protecting margins. So example could be reacting to a real-time flash sale from a competitor who has just a different pricing strategy, or just a different, maybe they're trying to offload inventory. That's something you don't need to try and match. And so it can help protect against that.
Okay, so my final question for you today is, what advice would you give to e-commerce teams who want to get started with AI-powered pricing? What would be the best way to go about that?
I think one of the most important things is to start at the beginning with your inputs, and that's making sure that you have integration of clean and unified pricing data across all these channels. So AI doesn't work well with messy data, right? So of course it can work with unstructured data, but it's good to start with a clean data pipeline, making sure that you're structuring as best you can your data. That includes data governance, data dictionaries, QA, looking for data drift, having that kind of stuff. So clean data pipeline, number 1. Number 2, start by piloting with one product category, for example, or one region, for example. Prove that impact before you scale and roll that out more broadly. Thirdly, I make sure that it's not just the sales team, but you're aligning with finance and with category managers, defining those guardrails around things like minimum margins, floor, ceilings on pricing, etc. Make sure you're focusing on agility. The real advantage is being able to respond in minutes or hours and not days and weeks, which is what historically sales teams would have done. And finally, when you're leveraging AI for this, make sure you keep humans in the loop here for oversight. That's, AI is an incredible tool for augmenting this process, but it doesn't replace the strategic pricing decisions that human beings would want to make.
Yeah, I like that. And I think it's important, right, that it's a data-informed approach, and especially when you're starting. So you start on a small scale, get some quick wins and show the concept, get more familiar, but like at a small scale, and then you can see like where you might need to tweak it and stuff. So that way it's scalable and you have input with a data-informed approach.
Correct.
So thanks for that, all about dynamic pricing. So I guess just to sort of summarize what we discussed about, Clearly, pricing and agility really does matter to be responsive to the market, where it used to be just days, and now we're talking about minutes or hours, and how AI can help you get there, right? And starting small scale and then building it out once you've shown the concept to roll it out on a bigger scale to really see the improvement. With eClerx, we actually have a market intelligence platform, which is our AI-powered intelligence suite that reveals your holistic digital competitive landscape and proactively turns insights into growth strategies. And we have things like dynamic pricing included. And if you're wondering how your brand is performing today, or where you could be doing better, you can check out eClerx.com to dive into our market intelligence solutions. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll see you at the next one.